Hello folks, Bill Trammell here from PDCM Risk Management, and I'm going to talk a bit about the ambient air quality testing for respirable silica. And I do have some of the equipment here that I'm going to go over real quick to familiarize you with the pump and of course the cyclone collecting system that I use to collect silica samples for exposures for employees. It's a very simple device, and it consists of this pump and then of course this cyclone device right here. And I'll give you a close-up view of this just so you get a good idea on how it works and of course what we do to collect these samples for silica exposure for our clients. Now this is a sampling pump that I have right here, and of course this is a measurement ball for the amount of air that is pumped by volume. Now in a silica test we are going to be running about 1.7 liters of air for our collection samples that we're running. So what we do is we don't use this scale. It's not necessary to scale, but it is set for a volumetric flow, and once it's set, then whatever the ball's at, we just want to make sure that's working properly. Now this pump has batteries in it. It's tested to basically run at least 480 minutes, which is an 8-hour test. So in this case, these pumps are pretty old and durable, but they have lasted a long time. Now here we have the actual cyclone tester, and as you can see we have the cyclone right here. Now what happens is, as this thing is being worn in a position like this, swinging free, the employee wears it on the front of their chest and it swings free, because you always want this end down. You never want it to tip up like that. That will negate your testing. So you always want to remind the employee to stay upright when they're using this. Now this hooks onto the clip, and then of course this cyclone holds all of the actual heavy particulates. It gathers up down in here in the bottom. The smaller, lighter stuff is then, of course, sucked up through and put into the filter media. So you just run it that way for 8 hours. You want to make sure that, of course, this is monitored. And under scientific principles, you do have to monitor this frequently. So what I tend to do is be there all day with the monitoring, look for problems with the pump not running and catching it if it does stop. And of course usually it's because of a bent hose that cuts off the air. The pump overheats and shuts off, so you want to monitor it frequently. So good testing theories and principles are applied, that the person that is doing the collection must be on hand to monitor the samples and also monitor weather conditions, heat, temperatures, and everything else that may be involved that may affect it, including up to maybe employee abuse of the actual testing and causing problems to negate the test. So very, very important that you be there to monitor it. Now this device here, basically, that once you get this done, all you simply do is of course release it, and once you have it released, then you can slide it up and you take this cartridge out like so, keeping it upright. Then you put tabs on here in the bottom and the top. There's little plugs that you put on there, and then of course you mark it, identify it, take it to the lab. You do not transport it to the lab with it this way, okay? You don't want to transport it to the lab in this condition like this, because here's what's the problem is if you do transport it with it connected up, and of course in this position, if it gets tipped over upside down, you'll get an error of a high reading, and you do not want a false high reading. So therefore, that's why you take this cartridge out, seal it, and of course get it then taken separately, because you don't want to transport it hooked up this way, because it will give you a false reading. So that's one thing that you do want to do as far as these sampling kits go, and not lose the parts, because the lab will get mad at you and everything else. But again, this is how the sampling is done and of course conducted, and this is the equipment that is used. Well, I hope that answered some of your questions concerning silica sampling. And remember, we want to make sure safety is first, second, and third. That way we can get to the home plate without injuries at the end of the day. This is Bill Trammell from PDCM Risk Management, and I want you to be safe today.